Vera.
Morning.
How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
It's good.
Okay, so I'm just going to start on my left. I'm going to start with you, Richard. Men.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Is it a case of... So I'm talking for women here. Is it
Obviously.
yes, just to be clear, is it a case of you're complicated, or you're too simple, or we don't understand you?
I think it's a case of the question.
Okay, you see.
What
you
question
see,
are you asking?
Annie Vera, you see, like you understand the question I've asked,
Let the
right?
man
I
talk.
mean,
Let the man talk.
Let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate this.
Okay.
When you say that men are hard to understand, have you ever heard a mother complain about her son being hard to understand?
Well, I have a son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he would stand on the top of where the TV is. So the thing, what's it called? The stand where we put. I don't understand why he would stand there when he was about 3 years old and feel like he could fly and then jump.
But you know that that's a very different context.
Well, you asked a question, and like you said, it's about the question. So I
That's
do
what
not
I mean.
understand my child.
That when usually it is said that men are hard to understand, it's in a very particular context. And that context has to be defined very clearly. Otherwise, the answer changes every time. It's about usually we don't get the kind of response that we want. Now, that's different. People like John Gray, for instance, would say that women communicate in a very metaphorical way. So that when you say, we don't get men are hard to understand, the problem with us is we hear that and we're like, okay, they mean they don't understand us. Perhaps that's not exactly what you're trying to communicate. What you're trying to say is that you're not getting the kind of information or the kind of feedback that you would want from us. So that it's not so much just our being hard to understand, but the fact that you're not actually getting the kind of output from us that you need or want.
This reminds me of the Garden of Eden when Adam said it is the woman's fault. And did you just say that it is because we are not asking the questions from?
It's
I'm going to
interesting.
love this conversation.
It's interesting that you bring the Garden of Eden into this. I was thinking about that recently, and I was just asking myself, what was it that Eve was not satisfied with that had her seeking out additional information from the serpent?
Once again, it's Eve's fault.
No.
Once again.
You see, it's about nature. Who are you? Who are we? It doesn't mean that anyone is at fault. It just means that we're different. And that has been established on so many levels.
Yeah, of course.
We need to be able to understand that. When we understand that, it changes the perspective of whether, oh, I don't get women, I don't get men. We are different. We need to understand how it is that we would interpret the information that comes from each person.
That's right.
Reg, what do you think?
I totally agree. I mean,
Yeah, you
from
kind of would though. Men versus women.
Not really.
I mean, it's about understanding it from the get-go. I mean, as a guy, being young, the emotional side of things, we're told to hold back from the start. You know, I mean, for emotional maturity, you know, it's difficult because we're showed that we're not supposed to cry or show our feelings. You know, whereas with women or girls from a young age, it's very emotional. You've got issues, crying, and relationship stuff. But with guys, from the start, we start holding back on our feelings, and then that goes further on, in life, which then makes it difficult to understand. Why aren't you showing the side of you that we want to see? And we tend to hold back on our feelings.
Right. So, in terms of the question of whether you're difficult to understand, whether you're complicated, or whether you're too simple, which one would you go for?
I wouldn't say that we're difficult to understand. It's about getting into us so that we can then open up to you and then show us the side of you that we want to, make you understand, like our feelings, because sometimes it can be difficult to get past that first layer because look, we all want to be men. We've got egos. We want to have that macho side of us that, this is us. But sometimes it can be difficult to get past the layers to show whatever feelings that we have inside that we want to then demonstrate and say, look, this is what we're feeling.
So on top of all our problems in the world, now we have to peel you layer by layer.
Why is it even a problem? It's not
Exactly.
supposed to be a problem.
Okay, Aniva, you talk for me because I'm just gonna.
I think men are very complicated, and I think it's coming from the fact that growing up or like through the whole process, they've been taught to hold back on feelings. They don't express too much. They don't want to be weak, so they hold back on so much. The maze is just a
But is
bundle
that a
of-
bad thing? Do you see that as a
You
bad
just
thing?
make the work too difficult for women now. Then some women will throw in the towel. They're tired already.
But then if we were to flip it around, would you find it attractive for a guy who is always pouring out his emotions, always soft, always crying, always,
Just be expressive enough. If so long as the lady's showing interest in
Mhm.
trying to get to know you behind all the macho,
Yeah.
you should allow yourself for her to get to you.
What do you have to say to that?
I'd say those parameters enough. How much is enough?
Wow.
It's about, it's like someone says French is a difficult language. It's not. It's neutral. It's about who's dealing with it. There are some people who find it extremely easy to learn a language. There are others who might find it a bit more difficult. Now, there are some women who might find it extremely difficult to relate to a particular kind of man because, of course, there are different kinds of men, and you have to bring that into perspective. But there are some also who find it much easier depending upon what their experience has been, and therefore they're able to interpret the information that is coming from the male in a particular way that satisfies their need. And it's all about what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So if what you're looking for is satisfied, then it's cool. If what you're looking for, however, is not provided, no matter how the man is, it might seem,
So, what I hear you saying is that when a woman comes to you in a situation, she's looking for a specific outcome.
Yes.
When she doesn't get that outcome, then we label you as complicated and difficult to understand because perhaps we didn't get what we wanted from you.
would you not agree?
Would you agree, Annie Vera?
No, not necessarily. Because, going into a relationship or meeting somebody, there are no sureties. You see what you like, but you very much should know that going in there, it could be something entirely different. So it's a 50-50 chance. I'm sure most women by now, at a certain point, will know this dynamic.
Let me introduce an example here. Perhaps that would illustrate what I'm trying to say a little bit better. For instance, let's just say there's a reason why a particular man would seem pretty easy to deal with for one kind of woman.
Yeah.
And then for a different woman, he's extremely difficult. Why does that happen? The man hasn't changed. The man remained the same. But it's about the person who's interacting with him at the time.
That's right.
So it's about what are you looking for? Everyone wants something. Men want something. Women need something. Everyone needs something. But if you're not getting what it is that you want, if you're not careful, you might be tempted to label your partner as difficult.
Yeah, whereby the issues with yourself.
Exactly. And I'm not saying, there's nothing that's fixed in stone. Yes, there are difficult people. There are men who men don't understand. You understand? But I'm saying on the general, sometimes you want to look at yourself as a recipient of that information and ask yourself, am I, setting the right benchmark? Is it that my benchmark is the problem?
Yeah.
I'm just saying food for thought.
So, do you think that it would be easier if, for example, if Reggie and I met and we decided that we liked each other, which is not going to happen because we've already met and we don't. Let me just say that Reg was the best man at my wedding. So we go way, way, way back. He's also been my boss and my friend over the years. So forgive me for some of the jokes. I'm just letting our personal stuff come through. But if we met, for example, and we liked each other, do we come to a place where we can say that, look, I'm going to teach you how to love me?
Mm-hmm.
And can that responsibility then be shared? Because a lot of times, and I've spoken to a lot of women about issues like this, men are not very vocal about what they need, about how they want you to communicate. I've heard so many times men who say, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like the way you talk to me. And the woman will ask, what did I say? And it's like, I don't like the way you talk. And we don't understand. Is it the tone? Is it the texture? And sometimes it's just the way you did your voice or the way the way you did your face. Some of these things are so vague that it's so difficult. There are times when I've looked at a man and I've been totally helpless because I'm like, I do not even understand what it is that you're hearing. Sometimes it's passion in my voice, sometimes I'm emotional. And the other thing, I'm sorry I'm going on a little, but the other thing is when you're talking to a guy and he expects you to remove emotion and be logical.
Because that's how we work. First.
So going back to my question, the responsibility of the, teach me how to love you, You know, are men going to at some point be willing, as some men, because of what Richard has said, some men, because I get that some men are going to be willing to teach us and say, look, this is how.
Definitely. Look, we are coming into the relationship wanting something as much as you guys want something, and are willing to put in as much effort.
Are you?
Of course, definitely. Look, for us, there's so much more to it. I mean, we've got this winning mentality, you know. So you become our trophy, you become the thing that we want, our prize that we want to show off. But at the same time, we want to work with you, for you to be to I don't know, to mold you to become something that will suit the kind of, you know, situation or relationship that we want to be in. So there's a level of having to get that kind of understanding. So yeah, sometimes it might be let out in like, I don't like the way you spoke to me, I don't like the way you done this, I don't like the way you done that. But I think there'll still be a time where you come together and then you look beyond the fact of, is it just how I said it or how I approach the situation, and possibly look deeper into it. Maybe there might be something behind why he's saying that. You know, sometimes we're not straightforward. Sometimes we can be coming with all kinds of baggages and issues whereby we're then using issues within our relationship to just try and channel our problems through. And sometimes you have to try and see beyond that. Do you get what? So it's not straightforward. That's the bottom line.
It's never straightforward.
It's never straightforward. But then that's on both sides. That's on both sides.
Would you agree?
How can it be straightforward? We communicate in different ways. We communicate logically. Females tend to communicate emotionally. You know, if I might backtrack just a little bit to what you said about with the willingness of the male partner to literally show the female how to communicate the way that he wants. Again, it goes back to the assumption that the male figure is the leader. He can fill in the position of a teacher, if you like. But the truth is, even if he would want to, can he? Does he know how to? How many men are primed in all our years before marriage to actually know how to communicate with a woman?
True.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going into the relationship with all these expectations on him. The woman is like, I mean, men, you're the strong figure. You're the one. If I am not communicating with you the way you want, teach me. He doesn't have a clue. He wishes he could. He wants to be able to, but he doesn't know how to. So there's this great deficit that has to be looked at.
That's so
I want you guys to talk to me about the fundamental differences between grown boys and men. Because if we're situating it in Ghana today, a lot of women are having a hard time on the dating scene. One, there's the constant coming at women with the statistic that there are more men than women. I hear it on every radio station, especially even the local radio station. It's constantly coming at us. Every question that you ask concerning a man and a woman, there's almost always that caveat of the women should remember that there are more women than men, so they should behave themselves and they should do this. And so as much as we don't like to admit it, there's an entitlement mentality that has gotten into most of the Ghanaian men at the moment. Let me just say that it's very difficult to deal with. It's very tiresome to deal with. So there's that. We're dealing with that. We're also dealing with grown men who are boys, who are not mature, who are not wanting to have these conversations to say, this is how you love me, this is how I would like you to speak to me. Men who have not identified that perhaps when you speak to me in a certain tone, you trigger a childhood trauma, or you trigger, because once there's understanding, it's very easy to communicate. But there are men who are not self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So as men, I want you guys to tell us, the women, what are the things that we should look out for? What are the things that we should avoid? What are the battles that we should not even try to fight?
Mm-hmm. You want to start on that?
That's a big question. I mean, first of all, it's knowing what the woman's agenda or objective is.
Yeah, it's true, because women have an agenda too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some may feel that they're reaching a time in their life where they just need a man, in their life. And of course, if you go with the wrong agenda or the wrong objective,
can you feel these things?
Of
Definitely,
course.
100%.
Yes?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Really?
All the time.
So you can feel a woman's
Straight
motive
away.
when she comes at you.
Straight away. And then that will reflect on how we too will
Yeah.
treat you as a woman.
Wow. So you can feel when a woman just genuinely likes you.
Definitely.
You can feel when she's desperate.
Definitely.
You're not saying anything.
Because I agree.
Okay.
It's
all
true,
right.
and it does taint the response that comes from the man. The funny thing about a man, however, would be that regardless of what the female's motive might be, depending upon how much he wants her, he could ignore.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
wanting purely on the physical.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, ignore doesn't mean forget. That's the reason why there are so many relationships that are based on materialism
Mm-hmm.
that are still happening. It's not because the man doesn't know that the only reason why she's with him is because of his money. He knows. But he's prepared to ignore in order to have her.
That's right.
There would be a point within the relationship where that no longer is the premium, and then the other things would surface and everything goes to hell.
Exactly.
Wow. That's very interesting. So what battles should we not fight? Do we run away from these boys who are men who are boys? What do we do?
Let me ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Before a boy becomes a man, there must be a transition, and most of the time would be based upon knowledge influencing his mindset, which would then influence his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Where does he learn that from?
Exactly. Is it not in the very
Uh-huh.
relationship that you guys
No, I
And
think
are after?
It's usually
Or do you
supposed
expect
to be
us to teach ourselves and be
the
ready-made,
thing.
come in as a
That's the
complete
thing.
package?
Let's be honest here. A great majority of women have had the advantage
Yeah.
of being within a home system where they have older females, go through certain life experiences for them to experience and watch and everything. Fathers, on the other hand, tend to be very laid back.
Yeah.
They don't talk a lot.
No.
Most of them are workaholics, rarely at home, if they are in the home at all.
Yeah.
So you have boys who are growing up already by default kind of emotionally shut down.
Exactly. Because the father will never express his emotions
He
of how
won't.
he's feeling with the mother.
Probably he doesn't even know how to do it either.
Exactly.
So you have generations of people who literally don't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
They jump into relationships and they give it a shot. Sometimes they don't even understand why they're in the relationship, apart from the fact that there's a connection on a physical level.
Mm-hmm.
So when that wanes, they're
What's
found,
left? Mhm.
okay, why am I here? What am I doing? I'm lost, and they don't have any father figure usually to guide them through and say, okay, this is what happens. There are certain secrets that if men were to reveal about how we feel emotionally within certain times of our lives, it would terrify women.
Let's not do that now.
No.
Really?
It would terrify women. I always say that,
It's true.
But sometimes the reason why we don't go into that is because I always say that desiring the truth does not necessarily mean that you can handle
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
it. So it has to be released in a particular way. I mean, I can't see how it would help for a married couple if one day the husband tells you, you know something? I really don't feel about you the way I used to. Now that's honesty, right? The kind of honesty that we ask for. But can we handle it?
Mm-hmm.
Now the funny thing about it is, it's not that he has maybe lost his commitment to you or anything.
Yeah.
Most of them will stick through it. Problem is, certain feelings have changed, and they have, but would never say it.
That's right.
A man will act upon it and do what he needs to do because he thinks he needs to survive, but he'll never tell you. And that's part of the communication problem, because we don't know how. How are we going to tell? How am I going to tell my wife, who I've lived with for the past 20 years? I love, in a sense, but I have lost a certain connection with her in
Mhm.
another way.
Yeah.
How do I tell her? How do I make her understand? So he won't.
Right.
I think we've got her.
No, it's always nice to see, the multifacetedness of men sometimes, because a
Yeah.
lot of times we're hit with a very straight line approach to
we
everything.
are surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it's surprising. It's not surprising. It's nice
Yeah.
to see that men can communicate
Mhm.
in this way. But in all of this, we haven't actually answered the question which I asked, which was, what do we avoid? What are the things that you meet someone? Let me use red flags, for example. What are the major red flags that you should, because there are no minor red flags. So what are the red flags really that you should just run away from?
I think when your perspective or your objective for the relationship isn't in line with what the guys.
How many guys in the first place would say, look, I like you, I don't want a relationship. I'll tell you I want a relationship until I sleep with you. But after I'm done with that, then I will make it very apparent that I don't want a relationship. How many men will be upfront like that in the beginning?
Okay, but if I'm to flip it around and say, how many women would take it on and say that, you know something, I don't want a relationship, I just find you attractive. And
I've had women on Strong and Sassy who have said that they would prefer if a man said to them, I like you, I do not want a relationship, this is what I want. They haven't felt duped. Because there's a feeling of being duped. Because in the first 3-4 weeks, and I've seen it, happen a few times. And so I look at the first 3-4 weeks, and it is not an indication of anything.
At all.
Because the first 3 weeks, men are it's so amazing how communicative and emotional and invested they are. And then sometimes if you're lucky,
very attraction. So if we're going to take all that away and just cut straight to the chase and say, you know something,
yeah,
I'm
but
not really in this for the relationship.
After you get to the cookie, then all of that's dissipates.
And that's part of the journey,
I've heard
though.
the journey for who?
The journey, the chase for the trophy, the chase for the prize.
Yeah, but there was a temper. So, but you get what I'm saying, though. It's really about the motive.
You probably will still get the prize.
Let me ask this.
Really, I highly doubt it. If we were to be as straightforward as, you know something.
Most likely not.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not.
You know?
But let me ask this. How many of us have seen the kind of relationship that is based on material exchange? Okay?
I've seen it.
Where there is no expectation emotionally.
Yeah.
It's an agreement.
Yeah.
She is giving him what he wants. He is giving her what she wants. It tends to be the truest kind of relationships. When that kind of relationship exists, the man knows he doesn't have to pretend.
That's right.
He doesn't have to lie. He'll be upfront.
It's a straight exchange.
He knows what he's giving. He knows what it is that you want. He doesn't expect anything else. Likewise, it happens. Now, if we could all approach relationships with that sense in mind, where you can be straightforward, all right, and not expect the worst, it would change the way our dynamic with the whole relationship thing is. Thing is, especially in this part of the world, men have gotten used to getting what they want by delusion, if you like, by misdirection, what have you. So it's become the thing.
I think the word you're looking for is lies.
No.
Called it a lot of nice things.
I'm trying not to use that because maybe we've all heard this cliche about how sometimes women want to be lied to.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yes, they say women don't like the truth.
I mean, that's polishing it. Sometimes they just want to be lied to. Okay, so your hair doesn't look great. All right? You really don't want me to get up in the morning and tell you, what's that on your head? No, you don't. You're like, oh, babes, I like the hairstyle you did last week, Now, that's how you want to be communicated.
And that's not a lie, is it?
It's not a lie. You understand?
It's just not the truth.
That's the thing. It's
the
a different way of
present
communication.
truth, yeah.
All right? So I think, yes, I really love what Merj said before about objective being one of the red flags that you have to look out for right from the beginning. Make sure it's aligned.
Exactly.
Women are great at coaxing stuff out of men.
Mm-hmm.
If all he's after is the cookie,
Yeah.
You girls are intuitive.
Are you sure?
You girls are intuitive.
Some
Come
guys
on.
can play the long game.
Yes, they can. But you see, you're great at bringing it out of us. Let me say this. I have so much confidence in women because I've lived with women when I was growing up. I had a family full of women. So I always used to study certain stuff about them. I realized they have this ability to sense. But what you also do is you love to, kind of make believe.
Yeah.
Everything is pointing to the fact that this is what he wants. But you don't want to face the reality because of the consequences that might come as a result of it.
Yeah.
So you play along.
Yeah.
In the hope of just maybe I might
Exactly.
go.
Or I'll be the one that will change that person and change their gender.
That's a big thing, Reg, because I've spoken to so many women who have said, I'll be the one to change him.
Yeah.
He'll love me enough to change. He'll
Yeah.
change for me. And Steve Harvey kind of reinforced that point because he said, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, he said that a man would change, and he was talking about his own personal experience. And he said a man will change for the woman that he loves.
True.
And so it kind of gave us the idea that, perhaps if he loves me enough, he'll change.
Yeah.
But then there have been contrary arguments to that, which is a man will change when he's ready to change. And after that, if he loves you, well,
Right.
good for you
Yeah.
then. But he won't necessarily change just to keep you. And even if he does, is it genuine? Is it lasting? Or is it really just to get you?
I think it depends on the man. It depends on the man. There's no straight answer to that. There are situations whereby the man will go into it with whatever reasons or whatever agenda he has. However, through the emotional connection with the woman and what she brings into the relationship, he'll change. He'll change because he wants to keep her and he's willing to do what it takes to make this thing work. But then on the flip side, like you said, it can also happen on the other way around, whereby he doesn't really want to change until he's ready to change, and yeah, that
It's tough.
is tough.
Which one do you think it is?
I agree with him in the sense that there are different kinds of men, and the different kinds of men react in different ways. I have a friend who loves to categorize men according to alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, and what have you. And depending upon what those behavioral characteristics are, some of those classes would be more willing to transform themselves in order to satisfy their partners than others.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with an alpha male, which unfortunately is the kind of male that has the greatest magnetism to attract women to himself,
Fortunately.
he is headstrong.
Yeah.
He is stubborn. He will not change for anybody.
But then that's the very
Kind of man that women are attracted to.
exactly, and they
I
want to
blame
change.
the movies and the Mills and Boons and
Brainwashed
stuff
them.
because
No,
I
it's
mean,
been there forever. You see, mindset is
no,
a
I mean for
powerful-
giving women the idea that men will change
Oh, well,
for them.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Imagine this. If, no disrespect to anyone, but if you have an epsilon kind of man on your hands, he is very willing to bend over to satisfy you. He will do anything. I've met relationships like that where the man would do absolutely anything for his partner.
Yeah.
The woman takes it for granted.
Exactly.
I see. So basically, you're saying that it depends on the man.
And yes, what kind of man he is.
So then there's really no way for us to know.
There's no way. You
It's
can't
difficult.
tell the red flags. No.
It's difficult. I do admit that it's difficult. But look at it from this point of view. Since you're not the only ones who are currently, in uncharted waters, because we are just as lost as you are.
Are you?
Yeah,
Very much
totally.
so. Very,
guys
very
are
much
really-
so.
Probably
Offers
even
so
more.
much comfort.
Probably even more. It's just that we don't make too much noise about it because we are, more introverts, so we keep it all in. But I think there's opportunity for the genders to open up the doors of communication a bit more
Yeah.
and talk.
Mm-hmm.
These days, we actually get to talk. It's just that if we would learn how to be able to communicate properly,
Yeah.
it would solve a whole lot of issues
Mm-hmm.
because it boils down to communication at the end of the day. I still remember an old flame of mine way back in the day who always used to complain, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I was like, okay. But that taught me something,
It did.
that my logic didn't mean anything if I didn't communicate it the right way.
In a way.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll bring the audience into the conversation. And travels abroad can be very exciting but full of uncertainties. Have you thought of all the unexpected events that may occur whilst you're abroad? Well, get the Glyco Travel Insurance Policy. It's designed to cover travel costs and reduce the risks associated with unexpected events. Talk to us today on 0202-222-113 or 0555-305547. Glyco Life, we cushion you for life. And hello, Ghana. Take a step into the future with Absa Group, the parent company of Barclays Ghana Limited. Absa has invested $500 million into technology to make your future possibilities a present reality. Welcome to Absa Group Limited. Absa proudly serving you in Ghana as Barclays.
Back on right now, I need directions to yours. Your perfection and flaws, infectious and more.
And for just 100 Ghana cedis, you can enjoy unlimited browsing for 30 days on Vodafone fixed broadband. Let's make this a vacation to remember. All you need to do is dial *900#, select option 7 and follow the prompts to subscribe now. This offer is for only active Vodafone fixed broadband customers and lasts until the 30th of September 2019. And I do praise this tonight. Gosh, we've been talking about this so much since early this morning. The Perez Dome will be open from 3 p.m. Grab your tickets to 60 Ghana cedis. We'll start praising at 6 p.m. And you can expect a really exciting lineup. I hope to see you there, or find me if you're there. And if you see anything in your anything suspicious in your community, please say something. Call the police toll-free number 18555. Hashtag is if you see something, say something.
So I know that my clothes reeking. Although fetch me these beat breaks while I'm eating. No sleep, dive deep. I see you.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply. At UBA, we pay close attention to your every detail, making you feel like a VIP every time you visit us. We have the strongest financial and technological background, making us #1 in risk management. We have offices in New York, Paris, and London, and presence in 20 countries across Africa. UBA has successfully operated in Ghana for almost 15 years, with 28 branches throughout the country. Visit us today at a branch near you. UBA, Africa's global bank.
King of my heart, my one and only. You've been working hard, though. Shouldn't we travel with the kids to relax? Lodge in a 5-star hotel, go on a boat cruise. Don't worry. With Visa, we can get amazing discounts on summer treats, tickets, and tours in UK, Dubai, and USA. Where's that flyer, Seth? See, we could also win home appliances when we spend at least $500 or its equivalent in any currency abroad.
Offer open to all Visa card holders till the 13th of September 2019. Visit africa.visa.com for more offers. Ask your bank for an instant Visa card today. Terms and conditions apply. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
So with this promo, we can win some home appliances and I can finally have my peace.
The events of August 2017 in the financial sector sent waves across the entire nation, with many affected. The cleanup of the financial sector received mixed reactions but has largely been accepted as necessary. Is the cleanup the panacea that will cure the challenges of this critical sector? With some banks closed, jobs lost, receivers appointed, and at work, the question remains, is the hydra-headed monster truly dead? Join Joy Business for the 3rd Financial Services Forum under the theme Financial Services Sector Cleanup. Now what? The Joy Business Financial Services Forum will bring together industry thought leaders, governance experts, together with Mrs. Elsie Ado-Awaji, Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Mrs. Mariam Bana, retired banker and corporate governance expert, Dr. Richmond Echuahine, banking consultant, and Reverend Daniel Ogba-Metete, Director General, Securities and Exchange Commission, to critically assess the policy proposals and practices that will ensure the sustainable growth of the financial services sector and a prosperous economy. Date, Tuesday, 10th September 2019. Venue, Labadi Beach Hotel at 9 a.m. Time, 9 a.m. This event is strictly by invitation. The roundtable will be carried live on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM and the JoyNews channel on the multi-TV platform. Joy Business, empowering, prospering together.
It's time for the most glamorous red carpet event. Glitz Africa presents the 5th annual Glitz Style Awards 2019. A night to celebrate personalities who embrace and inspire style and fashion in a bold, tasteful, and unique way. Step out in style to the Glitz Style Awards pre-party on Friday, 13th September at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, Accra at 9 p.m. The awards night follows on Saturday, the 14th of September at the plush Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, Accra. Glitz Style Awards is sponsored by Bailey's, Vlesco, Gandor Cosmetics, Samsung QLED 8K, Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, Accra, and Glitz Africa Magazine. Media partner, the Multimedia Group. For ticket reservations, call 0302-798-513 or 050-158-1266. Glitz Style Awards, celebrating African creativity and originality in style.
Education is the key to our development, and it is our responsibility to ensure everyone everywhere is educated. The Multimedia Group Limited, in partnership with SES and WoloAfrique.com's Wolo TV, presents Joy Learning, a channel dedicated to providing educational content for all levels and skills training. It is time to nourish the mind. Joy Learning collaborates with Wolo TV to deliver a new learning experience. Joy Learning coming soon on Multi TV.
Have some fun with Multi TV. Kill the bottom with Multi TV. Boost your business with Multi TV. Multi TV, more TV for free.
It's now time for the JoyNews Habitat Fair 2019 main event at the Accra International Conference Center. As Ghana's one-stop shop for the building and construction industry, this year we are pushing the theme, rethinking building technology in Ghana to give true meaning to affordable housing. Thinking of buying a home or remodeling your existing structure? Want to know about exciting new trends or just looking for exquisite and durable accessories to make your home unique? Then join us for the JoyNews Habitat Fair 2019 in collaboration with Elegant Homes and Super Cement. From insurance, finance, security, and energy, we have you covered. It's a 3-day event at the Accra International Conference Center from Friday, September 20 to Sunday, September 22, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. To sponsor or exhibit, please contact 054-431-0864 or 054-690-8179. The 2019 JoyNews Habitat Fair is brought to you by Elegant Homes and General Construction, where quality meets value. Super Cement, build your dream, and is sponsored by Peto, Timeless Architectural Fittings, DBS Roofing, Roofing Papa Pay Fee, Vodafone Fixed Broadband. The future is exciting. Domod Roof, distinct and dependable. Millennium Home Insurance, your trustworthy insurer, and Elbeam Realty, your home is your wealth. JoyNews Habitat Fair 2019, rethinking building technology to give true meaning to affordable housing.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Yeah, Kim promise. I know say I've been gone for a long while now. Where you they call, but I know they pick. And so I found beside himself, boy, now you're wild. And all I want to be your happiness. You know I gotta make this though, gotta stock this though, baby. I cry me there, don't be easy, oh. And me cry me baby, oh, don't you want to, oh, don't miniwa, oh. Unim say miniwa, oh, don't unim say miniwa.
And that's Manifest with King Promise. Menewa. And God spoke and said, it is not good for a man to be alone.
Know you reading the blogs. I've been on these tours. Back home right now, I need directions to yours. Your pet.
So he made us, and we've been trying to understand men ever since. I'm sure the men will say the same thing as well.
You can't be misunderstood.
Phone lines are open at 0302-216-541.
Never put them under.
Do you understand the man in your life?
Be on top, down the line. And I mean that shit. I ain't say just a rhyme. Don't say off.
Phone lines are open. Call me. Tell me what you think.
You know, say your boy for grind.
At Vijval Ahin says, as my pastor's wife, Adelaide Hayward Mills, will say, you are not a personal Holy Ghost to change anyone. You can only pray and believe God that the person will change only because they want to change first for themselves. The Tato-san says men seem complicated because women want men to be like them, but men were not created to be like women, and the opposite is true. Otherwise, there would only be one gender in the world. We all need to learn how the other behaves and learn to live side by side.
You probably think that I'm out cheating, but I did a studio all weekend.
It's 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. Call me. Willie Pop says women are too complex to understand the simplicity of God's creation. The man, we've
can catch flights and feelings. You go sweet.
TJ63, certainly yes, I understand my partner. I know what she likes and what she doesn't like. Yeah, but that means you understand your woman. But what we're asking is if you understand the man in your life. And I have Omusumuru from Domabing. Omusumuru, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Anymore, how are you?
I'm fine. I was going to ask you if you understand the man in your life, but you're a man. So do you think the women in your life understand you?
This is an interesting question. One way, I would say yes and no. Anyway, let me tell you. Before a man will talk to a lady anyhow, one, maybe the man feel disrespected. Two, the man feel cheated. And three, the man feel maybe the lady is lazy. You see, when these three things come up, the man can talk to the lady anyhow. You see? And sometimes you, the lady, you think, oh, the man doesn't understand you, or the guy doesn't understand me, talk to me anyhow. But sometimes you have to check yourself and see why the man is talking to me like this. Sometimes it's not like the man don't understand you, but some of these things, you see, when you are doing some of these things, you may not know. But we men, some of these things, it looks so boring, and the ladies, and that's why many guys don't cheat, or they cheat not because they are willing to cheat.
Okay, Omusumuru, looks like we lost you there. And I have Gilbert from Ejumako. Gilbert, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, anyway. I hope you're doing well.
I'm very, very well this morning. So, do you think that men are complicated?
No, I don't really think that men are complicated. But you see, one thing that I know for sure is that every man has got some pride in him. And no man would like such a pride to be, suppressed, especially before a lady. So that's why ladies, are kind of, I should say, oblivious of this pride. Some of them are oblivious of this pride. So when a man is behaving awkwardly, they don't know why the man is probably doing that. Anyway, I would interest you to know that had it not been such a pride, probably you will see a man probably washing the things of his wife or something like that. But I wanted to talk about the change, that when you see a lady, you can change. And this one, I want to sound very pragmatic here. I don't want to be theoretical. I'm using myself. I know that every man is supposed to have a dream lady. It's like having a dream car. And when you get such a dream lady, I bet you can do whatever under this earth that you can do to maintain such a lady. Because I was having a lady that I wanted to date, and that lady, I told myself that when I get such a lady, even if I have 1,000 ladies, I will leave them and go for such a lady. And when I had her, I left everybody and I went in for her. And for me, I have vowed to myself that even if it will take me to do everything to maintain her, I'm ready to do that. So with that one, it happens that men can change because of seeing, a particular lady. But one thing that is, makes it a bit difficult is that thing normally is impermanent. It's kind of fluctuates.
And looks like I've lost you there. But I have my last caller, Sadiq from Tema. Good morning.
Good morning, Enimwa.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So do you think that men are complicated, or we just don't understand you guys?
Yeah, you guys don't understand us. I don't think we are. Because, for example, I was just talking with my lady, whom I met some months ago. The way we used to communicate on the phone, then after I got her, the communication was not like that anymore. And she feels so offended. And I was telling her, now I have you. There are other things I need to place my mind on. We need money, we need other stuff to get married. So I can't stay on the phone with you for more than 3-4 hours. And they just don't understand.
The phone for 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
Who wants to stay on the phone for 3-4 hours?
The lady.
Does she not work?
She works in the evening.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes I think you guys just don't understand us. It's not that we are complicated.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And I'm not taking any more calls. Really sorry. It's almost 10 o'clock. But let me wrap up in studio. So let me come to you, Annie Vera. Do you feel like we've brought some resolution to the simple, complicated issue?
I think that we can't have one solution to this problem of understanding men, but we can try and listen more, watch body language, treat them like we want to be treated, because they're human beings, not like what the movies have portrayed.
And that's what we want.
To be. Yeah, that's what just trying to understand each other.
Reg, what about you? What would you say to the women who are listening?
I totally agree. I mean, it's about understanding that, look, we're not coming into this with a manual or any sort of lessons as to how we're supposed to enter this relationship. The very class is going to be us being in the relationship and learning stuff with you on how we should understand and communicate with each other. So I think there's a level of patience that is needed, and for us to just work on the communication aspects on both sides of things and know that, look, there's no perfect answer to it. We look at both our strengths and weaknesses and just work together and just come in with something good.
Okay, Richard.
Well, perhaps I'll go on a religious note and say men are complex. Yes, we are complex beings. And perhaps from the religious perspective, that's how God made us. I'd recommend that truly in an age like this where relationships are falling apart, rampantly, perhaps we should just go back to the original maker of the man. I don't think any human being has the capacity to change another human being. It would require divine, intervention. So perhaps that's where the women need to keep looking.
I'll be back before long. Send it in the text.
Did we answer your question?
Yes, I think you have on a certain level. So yeah, I'm reminded of the scripture that says, "In all that getting gets understanding," and so I can relate to that. Going back to God to try and understand these things. But thank you guys for joining me this morning. It's been wonderful, and I hope that if you've been listening, you've been able to glean something from this conversation of trying to understand men.
My close weekend. Although if me these beat breaks while I'm eating. No sleep, dive deep. I see you keep, but you see the move.